city. It's not. It's a big city with a small town feel to it, right? And so it's an area where you get to know a lot of different people and connect with a lot of people. So I think it was last summer, Dr. Okolobuda, we had a picnic. The Nigerian community had a picnic at Woodward Park. And a gentleman read from his book. And I said, we've got to get you to come to Fresno State. And then, of course, he, come on in, Chief, and have a seat. Get yourself comfortable. He also connected with Jill Fields with the Jewish Studies Association and with our history department. And so it's wonderful how things are serendipitous and everything kind of comes together. So we're very fortunate. Godwin Akubue hasn't been in Fresno that long, but has already become an important part of our community. And so you get an opportunity today to hear from him and a book that he has written, and also to see a video that shows you a little bit about Nigerian culture. So right now we'd like to put our hands together and welcome Godwin Akubue.
are able to demand from Nigeria that they want to go, that they want to form their own state, self-determination. And they felt that we should just stay here and keep serving them. They will have our oil, they will have our resources, they don't want to, they don't want to recognize us as a people. So we decided to go our separate way in 1967. So that was when the car lost its So they decided to chop off the Igbo people's tail. But even when they did that, the Igbo people are still surviving because the Almighty God, because they worship God, they are very religious, everything about them is God, they have been surviving up to this day. So that's how this book, if you like, actually came about, especially the title. Then, why the focus on the Igbo people? Why is this book focused on the Igbo people? The book is focused on the Igbo people because after watching the Igbo people with, a tribe which I'm also part of, and reading the Bibles, and reading several literature and archaeological findings in Igbo land from several sources, I was pushed to put this in writing, especially for posterity, and for people who are really curious about Igbo people, so that they will get to know who we are. My name is Godwin Oswell Akubue. I'm an Igbo, a Jew. I'm married, happily married for the past 23 years. I have four children with my lovely wife, Monica. 2 are in college. The other 2 are still passing through the junior high and getting ready to also go to college. Then I'm a biochemist. I have 2 degrees. I have the first one in biochemistry, and I have the second one in clinical chemistry. When I went to read medical laboratory science. And then I have this gift. I will call it a gift because I didn't quite learn it anywhere. Other than that, I've been reading books, as a young person. I've been reading several writers, as when I was growing up. And then at the point, I started trying my hands in writing. It also did in high school. I was first in 1978. When I was in high school, I became the best English student. Because of the essay I wrote, it was a competitive essay. And then in December 1978, I won a UNESCO essay competition in the state. Because just like we have 50 states in America, we have 30 in Nigeria. And then I got to the point where, due to a paper I wrote as a member of the American Association for Clinical Chemistry, I was discussing the prevalence of kidney nephropathy, diabetes, and I applied for an award, travel grant to American Association for Clinical Chemistry, and they gave me that award. And the cash prize is about $2,500. And with that, I was able to make it to this country. Amazing. And I relied on this award to get my green card in the category of alien. They call it alien. I'm not alien, but I say immigrant of exceptional ability. Yes. And since then, I've been working in the lab, but it came to a point when I said it's time to go back to that my gift right? And that's the product is what we are seeing today. Cow without tail. Good evening again.
Good evening.
I don't think I need to make further introduction because you've had it a little bit already. So the next thing I want to do very quickly, because of time, is to do an intro talk about African and Igbo Jewish heritage. And after that, I'll do a little bit of book reading, and then we'll sign. We'll have room for questions and answers, and we'll sign some books, and that will be it. So we're going to hit the ground running. Now, the topic. Is it true, that Africans could be Jews or Jewish? Or is it true that Jews could be black or Africans? Let's try with a definition. There are several definitions, especially these days, about who really is a Jew, because things are really changing very fast. Traditionally, a Jew refers to all physical and spiritual descendants of Abraham, with emphasis on Jacob, the chosen one, as well as Isaac and their wives. According to Halakhic law, anyone born of a Jewish mother or converts to Judaism, the religion of the Jews, or derived from Judah, is considered a Jew. As a matter of fact, as recent as 2010 in Jerusalem, birth, right, ethnicity, conversion to Judaism, and religious practice have all combined to define a Jew. Judaism, by the way, is based on the Pentateuch, the 5 books of Moses, and those of the prophets and other Jewish writings. Over the years, 4 major categories of Jews have emerged following the diaspora experience. And these are the Ashkenazim from Northern Europe, the Sephardim from Italy, Turkey and Greece, the Mizrahim from Syria, Iraq, and Iran, and then the bitter Jews. These are the hidden Jews, and we seem to be a part of that. Now, what color is a Jew? By the above simple definition I've given earlier, you can see that the color of a Jew will derive from or be a cross between the colors of Jacob and his wives. Of course, it is a settled matter that the color of Jacob's twin, Esau, or Edom, was known as red. You can easily check this out in Genesis 25:28. Edom actually means red. And that of Jacob remains unknown to this day. We can speculate that he was white, or maybe black, or probably brown. Let's settle for brown. But I have an assignment for you this night. Even though both siblings, Esau and Jacob, lived apart from each other after Jacob's return from exile with a brand new name, Israel. If you're Jewish here, if you're a Christian, you also know that you are familiar with the story. Okay, because after fighting with the angel, and he made it, he said, today your name is going to change.
That's right.
And it became Israel. Okay, so after, even though they lived apart, they separated from each other, endogamous marital ties continued down the road between descendants of both patriarchs. Now, an assignment. This is an assignment for my students. If you consider yourself a student in this gathering, what color do you get when you mix red with black? While I wait for your answer, mine is that my answer will be that it will depend on the shade of red you start with and how much of black you use. Be careful anyway. It could turn out to be neither, it could either be a shade of red or an ugly brown. So this is probably why in Europe the assimilated or Salo or Swati colored Jews are considered Caucasian Semites, dark Egyptians in North Africa, ruddy Edomites in Edom, black Cushites in East Africa, and mixed blood Chaldeans in Mesopotamia, and the newest Jewish community of note today, Jews of Nigeria. I have a whole bunch of references for this, but because of time, I said we're going to hit the ground running. So, can Africans or blacks be Jewish? Yes, due to the following simple reasons. A, Joseph, in Spanish we say Joseph. Joseph, one of the sons of Israel, I think he's the 11th son, while in the service of a North African king, or Pharaoh in Egypt, married the daughter of the priest of the ancient Egyptian town of On. Reference, Genesis 41-45. This marriage is bound to produce Afro-coidal babies with woolly or kinky hair. B. Moses, or Moshe, is recorded as having married a Midianite woman named Zipporah. Exodus 18:2. The daughter of a Midian priest, Ruel. At some point down the road, Ruel changed to Jethro, who was later described as Ethiopian or Cushite. Numbers 12:1. They had two sons. Two sons were made out of this marriage, and if both were truly of Cushian, apologies to Habakkuk, or Cushite mom, they were bound to have Afro-coidal woolly hair. Similarly, if Israelites or Jews are different from Cushites or blacks, why would Prophet Amos, if you check Amos chapter 9 verse 7, he said that the Cushites and the Jews are the same thing to him, to God. See, King Solomon is recorded as having many wives and mistresses from diverse nationalities, including the Queen of Sheba or Kosh, who legend had as having died in Igbo or the Igbo land of Nigeria. I came across this in my research. Babies produced out of this relationship are bound to have, some are bound to have a frequental woolly hair. The big one. Even Daniel's reported vision of the Ancient of Days, or the Adonai, described him as having woolly hair. Daniel 7:9. Moses only saw the back of the Adonai, and Jacob wrestled with the angel. Both accounts didn't tell us anything about complexion, so we won't bother about that. Genetics. For the overhead intro, you can see I trained as a biochemist and all that, and if I'm a biochemist, I must know something about genetics. Because that's one of the courses I offered. It was called molecular biology in our time, in the 80s. And if I know a little bit about genes and genetics, which has already been validated in 2010 in a study carried out by Dr. Harry Ostrom, Director of Human Genetics in New York School of Medicine. With the help of molecular genetics, there is now a new DNA evidence for common Jewish origin for Jews scattered all over the globe. Even though in marriage or marriages, recessive genes occur frequently in the F1 progeny that do the dominant. Let me just make this simple. Recessive genes are genes, you have some genes, she has some genes. The ones that don't show up in your kids, you consider them, recessive. But the one that is dominant is going to show. Like looking at my nose, I got this from my grandfather. But looking at my skin color, it's a little light. I got that from my mom. And then even my habits, my anger, my everything are shared between, So they are saying that that's when it is recessive, it didn't quite show, but when it is dominant, it shows, So that's the point we're making here. So there is a fairly new scientific research at Harvard Medical School led by a Jew, and his name is Priya Mohani, a doctoral student. And he has been able to show, that study has been able to show that African Americans and Jewish people have more in common than just the history of oppression. Jews 400 years, Africans 400 years. But there's more now to their relationship. It's not just about oppression. And maybe if you go back in history, I have a book here, this book, written by a professor of Jewish studies in Munich. His name is Michael Brender. This is the Bible, in case if there's anything I quoted, we want to check, so that we can just look it up real quick. So, this professor in this book, you can look it up when we are done, come to me, I give you the reference, showed that if you remember the time Martin Luther King and the rest were on that long march in history, they said the Jews and blacks were walking side by side on that march. The pictures are here. You're going to see a rabbi and Martin Luther King on his side. But over time, a lot happened, and we won't go into that today. So, how did they arrive at this finding that blacks and Jews have some kind of relationship? They arrived at this by examining more than 500,000 DNA markers across entire genomes of people from 7 Jewish populations. Ashkenazim from Northern Europe, the Sephardim from Italy, Turkey, and Greece, the Mizrahim, and the rest, to uncover that 3 to 5% of sub-Saharan African ancestry exists in the Jews. You can also look this up. All you just need to do is the Harvard study on African and Jews, and it will pop up on the internet. The internet has made life so easy these days. Okay. I will run all the way to another study, and after that, we'll begin to think about wrapping up this. Another professor of Hebrew and Judaic Studies at Yeshiva University told Forward, many of you may know, is there anybody who doesn't know Forward, the Forward magazine or newspaper? This is what he said. He said that blacks and Jews may not have just come into contact between 1950 and 650 BCE, but also during the Hellenistic period of 320 30 BC, when Jews lived along the southern Mediterranean Sea and plausibly encountered Africans to the south. Can Jews be found in West Africa? The answer is yes, because I happen to be one. Nigeria is in West Africa. We have Jews now in East Africa, which is Ethiopia. We have Jews in West Africa, and I represent them here. And there are Nigerians here. We have Jews from Central Africa, Kinshasa, and Cameroon. We have Jews in South Africa, Zimbabwe. You know about the number. They've just been, they've just been tagged. So DNA Jews is actually becoming very common these days, and there's still a struggle whether they will go the way of the old definition, the first one I gave, or whether it will go the way of the DNA Jews. Because a lot of things could happen over the years, even though it has been established that once you are a Jew, you must retain that identity over so many years. So, I have just said, yes, that there are Jews in Africa, in West Africa. The scattering of Jews to all parts of the world, including Africa, that happened in 722 BC, following the Assyrian invasion. You are familiar with this? If you read Zechariah 7:14, and the ingathering that is now happening, you know about the ingathering, there is now the law of return in Israel. Once you are able to prove your roots, and they check and confirm and they are happy, they will say, come on in. As a matter of fact, the Ethiopians are already in Israel right now. And most of them have lost their Judaism, just like us. But my dad and my grandfather, they were all practicing that. When my father died in 2011, I buried him the Jewish way. Over there, the name we have for the Jewish practice is called Omenai. Omenai. That's the language over there. So anyway, the Ethiopians are going through the motions of conversion. Some are being circumcised again, some are, go back to everything. So for us, I'll get to that. Now we can now freely talk about the black cocaine Jews of Malabar, African Jews of Abyssinia. Abyssinia is another name for Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a mystery. During my research, you can't really put Ethiopia into a bottle and give it a label. I think those are the things that the challenges they kept struggling with until finally they just decided, look, we need to take this people. And that's how they're over there now. So, the Chinese Jews of Cafen, South American or Spanish Jews, since 1492 when they were expelled, the Moroccan Jews, South African member Jews, and the latest Nigerian Jews. And Michael Brenner, this guy whom I was talking about, look at what he said in order to agree with what I've just been saying. To this day, numerous legends have circulated about the fate of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. Their descendants are supposed to have been spotted anywhere from East Asia to West Africa and South America. Nigeria is in West Africa. And these wandering Jews later, like the Igbo, we call ourselves the Igbo. But people, if you know your phonetics, if you are an English major, if you, I've said, I've answered this question, where are you from? I will say, I'm from Nigeria, Igbo. The next thing I'm going to hear from the person is, did you say Hebrew? Okay? So, our people believe that Igbo is a corruption of Hebrew over time. And look at that. They came from Middle East, Israel, settled in southeastern Nigeria, in line with the symbolism of East. If you are a Jew, you know that East meant a lot to the Jews. Even when you bury the head of the coffin should be facing East. And so many, we can't finish it tonight. So to wrap up, one last study discovered lactose intolerance in blacks of Virginia. And maybe, if you don't know, if you are from the right county in Virginia, you are likely going to be an Igbo. If you are from the right county, you are likely an Igbo, a Jew. Okay? So they carried that study and found out that the lactose intolerance was so high among the blacks of Virginia, and that study also compares favorably with the one that was conducted in Canada among Jews over there, and also among Jews in Israel. These studies are out there. All you just need to do is lactose intolerance, click in the Igbo, and you have all the information you need. Okay, so how did Nigeria Igbo when did they begin to have this feeling that they were Jews? It all started in 1789, when a freed Igbo slave called Ekweno Olaude, he wrote a book. And after, he'd been in UK, slaves, they were moving them around, the slave masters. He said that these people, their practices are like the practices of my people when I left, when they sold me. So he noted it, but nobody took him serious. Then, in the 800s, when colonization came to Nigeria, even the British colonists that came to Nigeria noticed that the Igbo had something very peculiar about them. In fact, they could not rule the Igbo people directly, they did it indirectly by setting up what we call the paramount chiefs. It was very easy to go to the north and get the Muslim leaders, the emirs, because they have this kind of, once you are an emir, everybody's around you. Once you are an Oba in the west, everybody is like, yes sir. But for the Igbo, very highly Republican, highly democratic. And people, the colonials were asking, who are these? Where did they come from? Then in 1905, one colonialist wrote a book saying that these people must be Jews. Still, nobody took them serious. In 1917, another colonialist wrote the same thing saying that these must be Jews. But in addition to that, something significant happened seed of David, Magen David, was found in Nigeria, in the Igbo land. Here. That was, the first one was in 1917. And then a British missionary, J.T. Besdin, also pointed strongly, said that these people must be Jews. Then in 1938, the unthinkable happened. A British archaeologist came to Nigeria and dug up a whole bunch of things in Igbo land, in a town of Igbo land called Igbo. These are some of what he found. Because after 1938, he came back in 1960. And after 1960, he came back in 1963. The first set of things he found, he named it Igbo Isaiah. The second set of things he saw, he named it Igbo Richard. And the third set of things he found, he called it Igbo Jonah. His name, Thurston Shaw, a British professor of archaeology. So these are the things he saw. He saw the remains and burial chamber of an Igbo priest. He saw crowns, he saw ritual earthenwares, vessels of bronze, copper, brass, carved stones, breastplate, shield, staff, sword, carved stone, ivory, beagle, trumpets, native candle stand, eggs, and so many things. So the picture was getting clearer. Then in 1940, another Magen David was found. And the colonial master then, Lord Lugard, said, these things we are finding in this among these people, we need to put it on our flag. And that's how this flag came about. This became the flag of Nigeria. Okay? But when they first came to Nigeria, this was the flag of Nigeria. And what did you see here? And what did you see here? This got to up to 1955. They went to Hajj in Saudi Arabia. The Nigerian contingent marching. And then the Saudis saw this, and you know what they would do? I hope we don't have one here. Any Saudi Arabian person here? Sorry. But what happened was that they burnt the flag. They burnt the flag. So when they came back, by 1960, when Nigeria became independent, the flag turned into this, to this day. This disappeared. But guess what? Don't tell anybody. That bronze was green. So we still have the green, all over the place. So what Nigeria told everybody is that green represents agriculture. And we agree. True. Okay? And then Nigeria, the Igbo people went ahead and produced the first president of Nigeria. Okay. The first military coup came in. The Igbo presidency was disrupted. They sacked the civilian government. You know how this is happening? They will plan everything from outside and get some people to execute it in Nigeria. Then in 1967, the Igbo people said enough is enough, that it's time to fight back. And that's when history threw up this man. This man. General Emeka Akubue. He is the equivalent of the Ben-Gurion of the Igbo. He fought back. We said, it's about time, we need to go. Leave us alone, let's practice our culture, let's do our stuff. He was considered a rebel until he died. But to us, the Igbo, he remains a hero. In 1958, when I was born, here, this man, you probably know him, Things Fall Apart. Chinua Achebe, an Igbo. He wrote a book condemning what the British did to the Igbo culture. That's how things fell apart. Okay? What is it that I'm not showing you here? I've tried to explain this book a little bit, but people have asked me at another place where I went to talk, why this sun? I told them it's the east. This is the symbol of the Igbo. The Igbo people, that's why on this flag, this is the Biafran flag. You see, the sun from the Middle East to Eastern Nigeria. And then they say, why this cow? A pastor specifically came to my stand one time over there. I said, Anglican church, I had a stand over there. He said, but I've been looking at this cow. Tell me, what is this cow all about? I told him that the cow, the red cow, you know, holy cow. You hear people say holy cow, right? Yeah. Towards the end time, there's going to be a red cow that needs to be sacrificed and, killed, burnt, and the ashes mixed with water and used to cleanse the children of Israel. And then, but that will be during the time of the coming of the Messiah. There are two schools on the Messiah, whether he has come or not. Some believe that he's here already, that he's coming back the second time. Those are the Christians. And the other group believe that he has not come. But either way, both sides are waiting for the Messiah. Whether it is the first or the second, we are all waiting, and everybody wants to be counted among the just. So that's what this cow represents. And what happened again is that during this time, when towards the end time, they said all the hidden Jews all over the world will be discovered. They will start showing up. Before, our ancestors were hiding. That's why we didn't know anything. But I tell you, they left us a lot of clues. It's just that most of us didn't have the eyes to look. Our ancestors left us a lot of clues, and I'm going to list them now for you. Oh, by the way, did I tell you that in 1995, Yitzhak Rabin was the Prime Minister of Israel? He authorized the search for Jews in Nigeria. That was the first time people came from Israel looking for the Jews in Nigeria. And they saw quite a bit. And as we speak right now, the search is ongoing. They don't just jump fast. When you say you're a Jew, they want to look. They really want to look. And they are still looking. But right now, we have so many visitors in Nigeria now, from Israel, from the United States, from all over the place. They couldn't, because when eventually, if an aliyah has to be arranged for them, you're going to have the largest Jews in the whole world. But I wouldn't see all the people living if it comes to that, because we are occupying a place in Nigeria that we're so blessed with oil. We're so blessed with, all we just want is let Israel know who we are and we know who they are. As a matter of fact, during that war I was talking about, the Israelites assisted Biafra. They came to our aid. That was the 1967 7-day war, but they still found time to assist us. So, what are the clues that our ancestors left? I just told you that the Igbo is already a corruption of Hebrew. So that's the first clue. Igbos are adventurous. There's a saying in Nigeria, if you go to any part of the world, if you don't find an Igbo, don't live there. Because Igbo people are all over the place, just like their Jewish counterparts. Tell me which planet, even the one they are, the NASA is still investigating, you might find Igbo people there. Okay, here are a few remnants of Igbo words, Hebrew words that are still available with us to this day. I'm going to demonstrate this and you just listen. I didn't talk to anybody, but just listen. Igbo kwenu!
Yeah.
Igbo kwenu!
Yeah.
Igbo kwenu!
Yeah.
Yeah is what you hear. That's an abbreviation for Yahweh. We have a city in Igbo land that is called Yako. Yako. Yako is what is left of Yaakov, which you know is Jacob. We have a name for Abraham, Abiama. When you hear Chukwu, if you see an Igbo, hear an Igbo man say Chukwu Abiama, he's saying the God of Abraham.
Yes.
Abia. Abia, you know, is the second son of the name of the second son of Samuel. We have Abia River in Igbo land. We have Naze. Naze. Naze is the town in Igbo land. And then we have another one, Ireti. And somebody is asking me, is it possible that Nazareth was broken into two in Nigeria and we have Naze and Ireti? I said, it's possible. Anything is possible. I can go on and on. There is a feast the Igbo people celebrate up to this day. It's called Obibia Eri. Eri is the son of God, the seventh son of Jacob. Eri. Igbo people consider themselves descendants of Eri. That feast, Obibia Eri, is, when you translate it to Igbo, it means the arrival of the Eri in Nigeria. We have a town in Igbo land, the pastor will confirm, it's called Asaba. One time I went to their website to see what they have as their story. They said this lady became this and the other one became that. I said Asaba simply means Sabbath. Shabbat. But you got corrected to Asaba. So how do I know that it means Sabbath? Because the Yoruba people, who are the closest cousins to Igbo, refer to Saturday as Asabe. So Asabe, Asaba. That's something to go to bed with, and you will wake up still puzzling what's going on here. Peace and burnt offering, rams, sacrificial lambs. Igbo people still do that. The symbolism of 7 years of indentured servitude. Male circumcision is compulsory in Igbo land. In fact, there used to be a time they were also circumcising the ladies, until people started saying genital mutilation, and it stopped. Igbo people are so big. I am circumcised. Every Igbo here is circumcised. It's almost like a must on the 8th day. Before Christianity came to Nigeria, that young man there is circumcised. He's my last born. The Igbo people venerate the royalty of Judah with the symbol of the lion. Every king in Igbo land, if you go to his palace, all you will see is the face of the lion everywhere. And you're like, what is going on here? They are just venerating the Lion of Judah. The Igbos venerate the... Oh, look at my shirt. What do you see? Yeah, I won't remember everything because of time. What do you see? The lion, right? This is the priestly wear of the Igbo. As a matter of fact, this shawl is made in Igbo land, in a village called Akubue. Their story is another long story that I may have to treat in my second book, because this is just book 1. venerate the valor of David, King David, with Ikenga symbol. Nobody has taken time to look at Ikenga to see what does Ikenga mean. We have a symbol in Igbo land that the Jews all over the world don't even know about. Meant for the veneration of David. How do I know this? On his right hand, he has a sword. And on his left hand, he has a head of a human being. And then go back to his encounter with Goliath and tell me what you're seeing right there. When David chopped off the head of Goliath with Goliath's own sword, he had it on his right hand and he took his head to Jerusalem to show up to today among the Igbo. If you kill anybody, if you say you go to war, they will ask you, did you kill him? He said, can we see his head? Up to today, if you have a feast and you kill a cow or if you kill a ram, and Igbo people want to come and celebrate with you, before everybody will leave, they will sit down and do a lot of things with the head of that animal. I said up to today. I'm not just saying something that is going to stop tomorrow. So this is something that is still in Igbo land. The Jews all over the world, they don't know about this. The Igbo people have Ikenga, but when the Christianity came, they called it paganism. They call it idol. Ikenga. Every man of the house is an Ikenga. Ikenga is what represents the man of the house. A man of valor. There's some other thing that is missing that the Jews didn't know about, which we have. There's what we call, if you want to write it down, students, Urim and Thummim. Urim and Thummim. The Igbo people still have it today. We call it Afa, Igbo Afa, Ubiri. It's normally 12. If you want to do divination among the Igbo, you bring 6 on this side, another 6, and you keep dropping it, and those who can understand the language, they speak a different language when you see them performing this. They don't even speak Igbo. I don't know the language. Among the Igbo, Igbo, that's equivalent to the Urim and Thummim of old. I will make this short, even though it's becoming long. But I know you are enjoying it. But we can't finish it today. All you can do is whatever I didn't cover here, a copy of that book will give it to you. And I can tell you that more is coming. Okay, this is book 1 of Cow Without Tail. Because why I carry this around is because the cow lost his tail. But I got it. Okay? I will stop here and then give room for some questions. And then we'll go into book signing and the rest of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's an opportunity for anyone that has questions. Yeah.
Don't make it too hard.
I'm a former student from Fresno State, and when I was here in the mid-'70s, a good friend of mine, Tai Olambiawana, was here from Nigeria. Only he was in Yoruba.
Yoruba, more in the West, yes.
And he told me his family's history, and his father's grandfather was a slave trader, and they went into the Igbo land and got the people there and sold them to the Dutch, and they brought them to America. If that's true, then many African Americans have roots in Judaism.
Okay, is that a question or a statement?
Well, I will just what you're saying.
Okay, yeah, I will simply agree with you.
Yeah.
And that answers the question. It's a question. Yes, most African Americans are Jews, but they don't know it. It's just like Hitler. You remember? Did you hear about Hitler? Who was doing all those things he was doing? Unknown to him that he had in his blood African and Jewish blood. How did they find out? They went and started doing typing of his relations, about 38 of them from mother side, father side, and so on. And they finally came out and said, so this guy was a Jew. So as a matter of fact, you probably know about this. In 1968, a group of 38 blacks from Chicago left this country. You didn't know about that? They went to Israel and started a new settlement over there. They said that this is their land. They tried to push them out. It didn't work. Today, they are coming to see. In fact, what they are doing right there is no alcohol. Just the typical African life of old is what they started there. If you want, write it down. The Hebrews of Israel, the black Hebrews of Israel, they are right there now. They are living in the Negev area. They left them over there to die, but somehow they are thriving. Cow without tail. Okay? So, the black African Americans are beginning to find out that, the white Jews, if you like, they know this before, but the situation here, you go to this side, maybe it's more favorable. That side, and with time, it's like, where else do I go? Today, blacks have produced a president. Unthinkable, right? But that's the way of life. Another question, please.
Is there another question?
Sure. Can you please tell us, sir, why the cow has no tail? And what happened to the tail?
Okay, I told you I got it.
But please tell us how you got the tail.
Yeah, when I started this book, if you are involved in writing, there's some kind of mystery in writing. This book changed titles 3 times. I started with one, the first title was In My Father's House. Then along the line, I came up with another one. Because I was writing and I was watching what I was writing, it was. Then finally, whether it was in a dream or in a conversation, writers can, this conversation, I can turn it into a book if I want. So it came, and like, considering all that the Jews have been seen, if everywhere the Jews are, that, everywhere around the world. And their only offense is because they say they are the choosing one, that they are very, they are very enterprising, industrious, and all that. So the best you can do is to stop them if you can. And that's metaphorically cutting off their tail. Okay? So the idea of cutting off this young man who is asking me a question right now, I just came in the afternoon. I went to his office. He just opened a pharmacy. His own pharmacy. He got tired of working for Walgreens. That's Jewish, right? So that's just what it is. The Igbo people, the Muslims in Nigeria, because of whatever reason, because Muhammad. Don't forget, we are cousins. The Muslims are our cousins. I mean, think about Ishmael. We are from Abraham. Okay, but it's unfortunate that things, due to extremism and all that, these two brothers or cousins are killing each other for nothing. Okay? So, we hope it will change over time. But if it doesn't change, I don't know what else to say now before I get in trouble.
If it doesn't change, the cow will grow itself.
Yes.
I have a question based upon something I read or years ago, and I was not aware that the Igbo were Jewish, but Haile Selassie and the Ethiopians, I read a lot of things talking about their Jewish heritage, and they've got all kind of artifacts and things of that nature. I think at one time even Haile Selassie was recognized as a direct descendant of David by the Vatican. Does your book address that at all?
Yes.
Would you like to comment on it, please?
Yeah, I mentioned this before, that Solomon had many wives from different nationalities, but the big one that was really advertised in the Bible, or Torah, was the visit of the Queen of Sheba. And Sheba, from what we are getting, when you begin to read, I told you, Ethiopia used to be Sheba, it used to be Kosh, it used to be Midian, it used to be, Ethiopia is a mystery.